21. So when you go to the SignWriting.org website and you look over on the side and see all the little words for links, and you find Presentation 21, that will take you to Jake's webpage where we have his abstract. We have some beautiful photos of the SignWriting app that he's going to be presenting. We have a really lovely PowerPoint that you could download. It's really a PDF of the slides, but boy, it's gorgeous, Jake. And we also have, I think, a paper that you wrote as well. I'm not looking at it, but I remember that. And there will be a bio. And the amazing thing about Jake's bio is that Jake is a programmer at a very young age. May I ask how old you are, Jake?
Yes, I just turned 17.
You just turned 17? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations on all that you've accomplished in such young years.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it's quite impressive. And I think right now, are you at Stanford right now?
Right now I am at Stanford, yes, taking computer science classes. It's a cool program that they invited me to. So I'm in high school. I'll be a junior this year. And they let me take college classes for credit at Stanford this summer. So.
Isn't that remarkable? And that's because you've already done so many computer programs. At least you have many apps, don't you?
I do, yes. I have 11.
And you want to, why don't you tell everybody about your website right now, your own website that you've designed?
So basically, my business consists of designing websites and apps, and I do a lot for community organizations with community service. And basically, some of my apps are community-driven, for instance, the SignWriting app and the Path to Eagle Scout app. Those two apps are actually, they're highly downloaded, and the community likes them in each of their respective communities, and the reviews are very positive, which is, it's quite nice to hear from a software engineering standpoint that people actually like what you designed. And so basically what I like to stress is the design of the app, because what I realized is after making 11 apps, that what people want is they really like the form over function. If it, it could be the smartest app in the world, but if it doesn't have a very pretty user interface, then their reviews will be 4 out of 5 star. And that's, just something that I've learned over my few years of doing this. So with SignWriting, I really tried to make an elegant user interface that anybody would be able to use and they would enjoy. And the same thing with Path to Eagle Scout. That one was donated to the Boy Scouts of America.
Wow, you're very charitable to do this kind of work, because I know it's a lot of work, isn't it? I mean, it
Definitely.
must take. Yeah, and then on top of that, I know what it's like because Steve Slavinsky and others whom I work with are just, they're software developers, as you know, and we must spend most of our time on software development, and the work is so hard, and it never ends because, as you already have found out, and you've already helped us with updating the software, right? You had to update it because Apple changed something, so then you had to update it. Isn't that true?
Yeah, it revolves constantly because there's, it started out with iOS 6, iOS 7, and now, here's iOS 8, and so it's
yeah.
basically, but the good news is that the app is compatible with iOS 8, so the demos you guys will be seeing today are on the latest release of iOS, so you guys will be able to see how it interacts with that.
Oh, I'm totally thrilled. Now tell us, do you have your own computer to do your presentation, or do you need, and by the way, the other people have been using Steve's help to show your slides, or to, because we do that on another screen. So how are we going to be doing your presentation today?
Okay, so Adam and I decided that because I have so many demo videos within the keynote, that I would run it on my own computer. So basically, I have a computer that's pointed at me with the webcam, and then I have a secondary computer right here, which is running the PowerPoint. And as you can see, I've logged on 2 times. One of them that says Jake is a keynote presentation, and the other one is my face. Do you guys see it?
I think I do. In other words, Steve, do you see it? Your slides, Steve, are over with our logo on top of it. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
I don't have anything showing on my screen but our logo.
All right. So I believe, Jake, yours is over. Yes, I see it there. Now, the only issue is the American Sign Language interpreter. So far, so good. We've been doing really well with this. But we learned yesterday that if we did a screen sharing of our desktop, the interpreter stayed. But I don't know what's going to happen with your presentation when it comes to the interpreter, but it's all okay. I finally had to relax about it and decided that later on, after we're all done with all 4 days of nonstop, broadcasting for 8 hours straight, we will go back in and add interpreting and captions and things like that. So if for any reason we lose an interpreter, it's okay. We will provide the language later. So I think you should just start when you feel ready, because hey, it's only 2 minutes to 8:30, and you only have about 40 minutes to present, because the next presentation, Rafa has to come in and start. So go ahead, Jake, and start.
All right, so let me just make sure that we're not going to get any feedback from YouTube, so I can see what's presenting. Okay, that looks like it's pretty good.
I think I may have to click on your screen, though, to show what you're going to be showing.
Yeah, so if possible, I think what Ab and I decided, I don't know if you knew, but so when I say next slide, we're going to go to the presentation screen, and then when and then I'll say I'll start speaking, and we'll go to my face, and then after I'm done speaking, I'll say cue the video, and then we'll go back to the PowerPoint, if that's okay with you guys.
That's fine. If you just tell me what to do, I'll go back and forth. I'm the person going back and forth the screens, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I'm on you right now.
Okay, so if we could move to the PowerPoint, that would be great.
All right, there it is.
Okay, perfect. So basically, hello everybody, my name is Jake Chasan, and today I will be demoing the SignWriting app, an app that I developed with Valerie, Adam, and the other SignWriting developers' help, including a Girl Scout, Elena Oroshkin, and this app primarily helps students and educators who are trying to demonstrate and teach sign writing to children, and also people that are trying to learn sign writing. And basically, okay, let's see, it finally clicked over on my screen. So as you can see, on the right is the logo of the app, and on the left is the Symposium, and in the middle is it's available on the App Store. So if you go over to my presentations page, you guys can see a link downloaded on iTunes. It's a free app, but I'll show you guys how to do that later in the presentation. So basically, now I will begin discussing my goals and successes. So if we could switch to the screen of my face, that would be great.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, so one of the goals with the SignWriting app was to make an interactive tool for educators, parents, and students to use and teach SignWriting. We did this by first determining a list of useful terms, second, locating graphics that represent the terms, third, designing flashcards to use in the app, fourth, organizing data into JavaScript object notation known as JSON data, fifth, programming the app in Objective-C, sixth, applying for approval from Apple, and 7, presenting the app to the community. All vital steps to the app's success. Please show the slide. Oh, perfect. Okay, if we could show my face for the next one, that would be great.
You want me to go back to your face? Well, here you are.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry, you know what? I had the wrong window open, so I couldn't see what you were saying. Okay, perfect. So if we see...
Shall I go to the slide?
Yeah, go to the slide, please. That would be great.
All right. It says challenges.
Okay, so here's the goals and success slide. I went back to it because it accidentally got fast forward if anybody missed that with the interpreters. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds to read over that. Okay, so now we'll talk about the challenges with the app. So if we could go back to myself. Okay, perfect. So basically, the challenges that we experienced in creating the app was creating an app in a language in which I was not familiar, as I do not speak sign language or sign writing. The second thing was loading the flashcards in a time-efficient manner. The third was keeping the size of the images small enough to allow the app to be self-contained on the individual's device so that it did not require a server to maintain the app. And the next one was finding high-quality images without copyrights to portray the words. If we could show the slide, please. Okay, so if we could, all right, are we on the slide?
Yes, we are.
Okay, perfect. So this one does not require too much interpreting. It's a video of how it is downloaded from the App Store. So I will cue the video. So as you can see, the user unlocks their device. Then they head over to the App Store. And they type in SignWriting. The app appears. They click the download icon. Downloads to the device. And this is a one-time download, which means that, like I mentioned earlier, they will not have to require a server connection. So you could use that on an iPod or an iPad that does not have connection to view the terms. Okay, and then they launch the app. The app initializes, and there it is. SignWriting for iOS. So now we're heading over to the next slide. So this one is a search screen where the user can search the entire SignWriting database, and they can control the type of search they would like to perform. It can be any part of the word, start of word, and the exact word. And this runs on the same searching algorithm that runs the SignWriting search database, I believe developed by Valerie and Adam. So now I will cue the demo. So as you can see, the user clicks the search button. Then they just type in the word they'd like to see, select their settings, click search, and the SignWriting database appears. So now if we could switch back to me, if that's possible.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm going to discuss the categories that are inside the app. So the app contains categories such as alphabet, animals, bedtime, clothes, color, family, feelings, food, money, numbers, places, time, and weather. And with each one, it contains various terms. The terms that we decided were the ones that people needed to know to get around society in SignWriting. And next, I will show you a demonstration of each of the following categories. So if we could switch back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so here's the alphabet demonstration. So the user clicks on alphabet, it initializes all of the terms. And there are all of the terms. So it goes through each of the letters in the Roman alphabet, and as you can see at the top, it starts off with a graphic of it. In the middle, it shows the SignWriting equivalent of the letter, and at the bottom, it shows the text. This becomes easier to understand in the other categories where they're not just letters that are being portrayed. So now we'll move to the next category, which is animals. So basically on animals, you can see how the graphic really helps, because someone can understand if they don't understand English, or they can see, oh, that is a dog, and then they can see, oh, that's English for dog, and that's SignWriting for dog. So this one, if we could switch back to me, that would be great.
Oh, of course.
So this one runs through bird, cat, cow, dog, fish, horse, lion, monkey, pig, rabbit, and snake. And now if we could switch back to the keynote, that would be great. So now it's going to demonstrate bedtime. So another very useful category. So if we could switch back to me, please. So basically, what it demos is the bathroom, the bed, the bedroom, brushing of the teeth, sleep, and wash. Now if we could switch back to the keynote, please. Okay, so now this demonstration shows clothes. Now if we could switch back to me, please. So basically it shows the coat, glasses, hat, pajamas, pants, sandals, shirt, shoes, shorts, socks, and sweater. So again, these are all very useful for translating the basic terms. So if we could switch back to the keynote, please. So now we're going to demonstrate color. So user clicks on color, and they get the most common color terms. If we could switch back to me, please. And so that's basically black, blue, brown, green, orange, purple, red, white, and yellow. So now the next demonstration, if we could see the keynote, please. The next demonstration will be of the family. So we click on family. And basically what appears is a list of useful terms that are representing the family. And again, this is where the graphic becomes very helpful. Okay, if we could switch back to me, please. So basically, we have the baby, boy, brother, dad, girl, grandfather, grandmother, married, mom, and sister. So basically, you could be a small child, you could be someone in high school trying to learn sign writing or sign language, and you could look through this, and you don't even have to really understand English. There's 3 ways you could attack it, and you could understand, you only have to know one communication entry point to get all 3 terms down from this app. So the next demonstration will be on feelings. So if we could switch back to the keynote, please. And here is the demonstration.
I'm trying. Let me see.
Oh, okay. Let me know when you're switched.
No, I think it came up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see, I'll cue the demo. Okay. So again, the emotions are very useful because these are everyday interactions, and that was what we tried to do with the app, is get the things that people would need in everyday interactions and display it to the user in a way they can understand from any point of view. So if we could switch back to me, please.
We are there.
Oh.
Yeah, we're on you, Jake.
Oh, okay. So
Sorry.
basically, we have the feelings of someone that's angry, they're crying, they're happy, they're hurt, they're loved, they're sad, and they're sorry. So the next demonstration we'll see is food. So this is a vital thing for survival.
Okay. Should I click on the keynote?
Yes, please. Okay, so the demonstration with food, as it shows the various different types of basic foods. And I'll discuss those in a minute. Okay, so if we could switch back to myself. Okay, perfect. So basically the food that's listed in the app is the apple, a bowl, candy, cereal, cheese, a cookie, cup, drink, egg, fork, glass, hamburger, hot dog, hungry, knife, milk, pizza, plate, spoon, and water. Okay, so now we're going to the next category. If we could see the keynote, please. So basically the demo on this one is how to understand terms, economic terms, simple ones in SignWriting. So basically, if we can switch back to me, we have the ATM, the bank, the cent, coins, credit card, dollar, and money. So for terms like these, anybody, even if they don't speak English, they can see the graphic of the ATM and they can say, oh, I know what that is, or a coin, I know what that is, and I can translate that into my native language, and I can translate that into SignWriting. So this is a further demonstration. So next we demonstrate numbers. If we could go back to the keynote, please. Okay, so the demo on numbers shows the numbers 0 through 20 and 20 through 100. So you could assemble a number by putting several of these together. And if we could see me, please. So the reason that we chose 0 through 20 and 20 to 100 is because you could get your point across by saying 20 plus 1, possibly, or 20 plus 2, and without overloading the system with too many terms. Because if we did 0 to 100 and had 100 different pieces of clip art and 100 different signs, then the app's weight would have been too heavy, and it would have been excessive data costs and things that we tried to keep down, so the end user could get a pretty much free product, which is no iTunes fees, no cellular download fees, pretty much, and things like that. So the next category is places. If we could see the keynote, please. Okay, so the demo we have with places shows the various things with travel and life.
We have a bunch of questions and answers for you. Can you believe? We'll do that later.
Yeah, is it okay if we do that after the presentation?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. So basically, what we try to do, if we could see myself, that would be great. So
yes.
What we try to do is we try to put in terms like airplane, beach, bike, building, school, car, church, home, store, train, work, and zoo, because these are terms you could use if you're traveling or if you're just trying to get by in your own town, because you want your car, you want your you need to go to work, but also there are things that you could use while traveling. So it's almost a 2-for-1 category. So if we could see the PowerPoint again, please. So the next one is time. This is vital because people need to be able to schedule appointments. So basically, I'll let the demo run and then I'll discuss that further. Okay, if we could switch back to me, that would be great. Okay, so basically the terms we chose were Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so that's the entire week, and then the minute, the hour, the day, the week, the month, the year, watch, clock, and night. So basically what you could do is you could take symbols from various parts of the app, like you could assemble Monday, and then you could take hour, you could go to the numbers section, you could pull out maybe like 8, minute, 30, and then you could say week, month, year, and you could just put numbers next to those, and you could write an entire calendar in SignWriting just from the various categories presented in this app. If we could go back to the PowerPoint, that would be great. So the next demo we have is weather. And if we could see me, that would be great. Okay, so it basically shows like cloudy, cold, hot, rain, snow, and sun. And this is the last category on the app of terms, kind of because, not to say it's the least important, but it's the least vital to someone who is, I guess, trying to learn this. And if we could go to the PowerPoint, that would be great. Okay, so...
Yes. I'm going to interrupt you for 1 minute. Silvana, can you hear us? Well, there's somebody here in the presentation that shouldn't be here. But that's okay. If we have any noise problems, we'll tell you. Okay?
Okay.
So go ahead. Go ahead, Jake.
All right. So if we could switch back to me, that would be great.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So basically, the other feature this app offers is a quiz. So the app contains a quiz to test the user's knowledge of the SignWriting images that are contained within the app. The quiz displays an image of the SignWriting word, and then it provides the user with a choice of English words to choose from. If the correct word is chosen, it appears in green. If the incorrect word is chosen, it wobbles and it turns red. And then when the entire quiz is done, it tells them how many they got right, how many they got wrong, how long it took them, and some various statistics that somebody would need to know. And this is something that somebody would want to use if they are in a SignWriting class, maybe even a sign language class, and they would really like to just test their knowledge of the core. And so, with further ado, I will run the demo.
Okay. Now, Jake, be sure to talk slowly so that the interpreter can catch up with you.
Okay. Do you need me to repeat anything?
No, we're okay, I think, aren't we, Adam? Yeah, he said it. He's amazing.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
We're on the PowerPoint?
We are on the PowerPoint, as far as I can see.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So I'll let the demo run.
Okay.
If we could see me, that would be great. Okay, so basically, as you can see with that quiz, it's pretty extensive. It runs over many different terms and it randomizes them. So the user could take the quiz many different times and they would never be presented with the same answer choice and the same configuration multiple times with the 10 or 5 questions that are configured in the quiz. So it gives the user an opportunity to quiz their knowledge over SignWriting. So the next screen we'll be discussing is the More screen. So this screen can be accessed from the bottom tab bar and includes sharing features, info on the app, SignWriting communities, information about the developers, and a link to the other apps that I've made. So if we could move to the next screen, there we go.
Okay.
So basically,
yes. Okay.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it's cube.
I don't think we saw the last screen. Maybe you could go back.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Jake, I'm going to go back to your face for a moment here. It's nice to talk to you face to face. So when you were just talking about the last paragraph, were you showing something on your keynote?
No, this screen, the demo is in the next slide.
Oh, okay. So you just keep telling me. Sometimes people get confused. I can't follow it myself as to what screen we're supposed to be on. So tell me where I should be right now.
Okay, so if everybody has had a chance to read the More screen information, then I guess we can move to the demo where I will show each individual tabs under the More screen.
Okay, go ahead then.
So basically, if we could switch back to the keynote, that would be great.
Yes, I'm there now.
Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate the share feature. Okay, and if we could see me, that would be great. So basically, the share feature allows the app to be shared with others through text and email, and it provides the user with a preset message, which includes a link to the app in the App Store and the icon of the app. So they can post it, they can text it to a friend, they can, post it all over, and they get to see SignWriting's logo, and they get to download the app. So it's kind of a cool mix. So the next screen that I will be demoing is the About This app. The About This app provides information for the target audience that would potentially use the app, has links to SignPuddle, and it credits the developers of SignWriting.
So I'm looking at you right now. Should I click on it for a minute and show them?
Yeah, if we could click on the keynote now, and I'll cue the demo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm on the slide right now. It says About This app. Yeah, there we go. Here comes the demo.
Okay, and if we could switch back to me, that would be great.
Sure.
Okay, so the next menu item that we will be demonstrating is the About SignWriting menu item. So this page explains what SignWriting is and how it can be compared to the alphabet in the English language. And it also explains how SignWriting is used throughout the international community. So if we could switch back to the keynote, and I will cue the demo.
Okay, we're there.
And if we could switch back to me. Okay, so the next page that I will be demonstrating is the links page. The links page has links to signwriting.org, SignWriting List Forum, SignPuddle, SignBank, SignBank's SignPuddle, and MovementWriting.org. So if we could switch back to the keynote, and I will cue the demo.
It's there.
Okay. And if we could switch back to me, that would be great. So basically, the links page is a very interesting page. The reason that Apple, we had to go through a two-step review process with this app because Apple was talking about the links page, and they told me that they no longer allow pages to go to external websites that have the possibility to transmit funds and donations, which I thought was pretty interesting because why wouldn't they allow people to donate to open community things? So that is why many people may be asking, why doesn't it just open in a web view within the app? The reason why it has to open outside in an external link in Safari is because anytime that the user has the possibility of interacting with PayPal, they have to do it within Safari. So I just thought I'd make a point that that's why that part of the app was supposed to be much smoother, but that is they said that the listing in the App Store is contingent upon doing anything like that through Safari. So that's why that ended up the way it did.
Well, I think Apple should just donate to us, don't you think, instead of us asking for donations from PayPal?
Well, they could include SignWriting in their next version of Yosemite, and if they did that, it would be quite cool because you wouldn't need to download the Sutton script font, and if they did that, it would be quite amazing.
Well, let's talk about that, Jake. You know, you may know more than I do personally, certainly you do, about these things, and between Steve Slavinsky and all of the other programmers that work with us and yourself, maybe we could talk about that and maybe encourage that to happen. I'd love it.
Sure, definitely. We can talk later about that.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So we're back to me?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So basically the next screen is going to talk about the developers. That cites myself, Elena Aroshkin, who is the app marketer, Adam Frost, who is the language consultant, Valerie Sutton, who is the SignWriting creator, and Steven Slavinsky, who is the software engineer for the SignWriting project. And without all of their help, we would not have been able to compile all this information into the app because Valerie made it with handwriting and everybody else helped digitize it, and then we categorized the information. So if we could go back to the keynote, and I will roll the demo.
Yes. Okay, we're there.
Okay, so here's the demo of the developers. Okay, so that is the end of the developer's demonstration. So if we could switch back to me. Okay, thank you. So the next screen I'm going to be demonstrating is the Apps by Jake Chasan screen. And this screen links to the App Store, viewing all my other apps, and it shows the Path to Eagle app, which is the app that will be demonstrated in the demo. And it also shows all of the other apps that I've made. So basically it can allow people to see the other projects that I've worked on. So if we could switch back to the keynote. Okay, so here's the demonstration. So that's Path to Eagle Scout. If we could switch back to me really quickly.
I'm back to you.
Okay. So basically, I wanted to talk about the future of this app. So the future is to stay updated with the iOS changes that occur, to stay current with the App Store. iOS 8, it's coming this fall. And the good news is that all the demos you saw today were running on iOS 8. So this app is ahead of the curve. It is all the way up to date. And the second that iOS 8 rolls out, the app will be ready for it. And nobody will notice any visual changes. It'll all just work flawlessly. So if we could switch back to the keynote.
Jake, you're great. This is wonderful. Okay, we're back to the keynote.
Okay, so I'll just give people a minute to read that. Okay, and if we could switch back to me.
We're back to you.
Okay, so now I'll talk about the conclusion. So in conclusion, this project helps teachers, occupational therapists, parents, students, and everyone become familiar with SignWriting through a colorful, interactive flashcard program. This app was compressed so it can be downloaded to the user's device without taking too much storage space up on the device, and it does not require a server for long-term use. The app weighs in at 26.8 megabytes, well below Apple's cellular download limit. Their cellular download limit was increased from 20 to 25 to 50, and it might even be 100 now. So this app can be downloaded over networks, and that was always a big problem with apps. You get them, and you get the message that says this app cannot be downloaded because you're not on Wi-Fi, which is really what we wanted to avoid, so everyone would have access to this. And it also does not take too much time to download, just a couple seconds because of the small weight. And I wanted to thank all of the people who have made SignWriting feasible and the development of this app a possibility. Okay, and if we could switch to the slide so a few people could read that if they need.
Yes.
Okay, so now I will be taking any questions if anybody has any.
Well, first, I want to say thank you, Jake. This is a beautiful presentation. It's so impressive that it's just mind-boggling. I love it. Wow. The video showing every detail of the app, it's a remarkable piece of work. The presentation as well as the development of the app itself, which I think everybody should know was a gift to us by Jake Chasan, and also a lovely young lady named Elena Aroshkin, who is going to be presenting later today. Elena is actually the last presentation today about visiting Stefan Vorman's classroom in Germany and showing his students the app that you developed, Jake. You see, Jake is the software developer. Nobody could possibly do that but Jake and other developers, but this is uniquely Jake's development. And it's wonderful because it was something that I, as an older person, really knew nothing about. I'm kind of out of date, you see. SignWriting is 40 years old this year, which shows you my age, which we won't discuss. It means that I started, as you already said, Jake, we're looking at you right now, that you know that I started out with handwriting, didn't you? You know that...
Yeah, with movement writing and the dance writing?
Yeah, exactly. And we wrote by hand because I started working with that in 1973 or so. So by 1974 was the official year that the system was presented to the world and also developed in the SignWriting world. But it was all by hand. And it was all by hand for a decade because personal computers didn't come in until around 1984, 1985. So I'm just telling you this because you're the software developer and you know what it's like. The software changed everything, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Really changed the world. Yeah.
And on top of that, when you came to visit me in my home and showed me this beautiful gift with Adams and Elena, I didn't even know how to use an iPad, I'm ashamed to say. And I have since purchased one since so that I could look at your beautiful app. But I know other people use it a lot. Did you tell us that they actually download a lot of downloads for the SignWriting app?
Yes, the SignWriting app is an amazingly successful community download. The download, I believe my last statistic was well over 1,000.
Wow. Wow.
And that figure is slightly out of date by just about maybe 2 months. That's when I last compiled the data. So if I had to make an estimate, we're probably above 1,200 by now. So it's growing at a pretty fast pace. It's the second app after Path to Eagle Scout in the lineup of fast-growing apps.
Wow, I'm impressed with your work for making this possible, but it's also kind of a happy feeling for us, too, to know that people are interested in using the SignWriting app. That's good. Well, listen, it's remarkable. I mean, the gift is enormous. Thank you. And thank you for keeping it up to date as you've done. I think that's considerably amazing because I've had other people do software development as a gift, totally different people, nothing to do with apps, and they wouldn't be able to support it. You know, to support software on an ongoing basis is very hard. So now I know we have a bunch of questions and answers. Can you, or not answers, you're going to answer them. Can you see the question area?
I do. I see the Q&A pane. So and let me just see if I can move over that. Okay, answered questions versus questions. Got it. I see it. So, all right, let's see if I can take the first question, which I think was by Stefan Warman, which says, my students asked, why did you write every term with a capital letter? They are asked to write these words with just lowercase letters. I think he may be referring to, let me just find the part of the presentation that he may be referring to. The part where there's the flashcards and then there's the graphic with the SignWriting and the text. Is that correct?
I don't know whether Stefan can answer you or not. I'm not sure how that works, but I can tell you, yes, I know the issue. I know the issue, and I do want to explain something that in the English language, this doesn't bother us. Stefan should know that I think it must be different when one's teaching deaf children, but and perhaps in the German language it's different. But for Adam, for me, and for Jake, and even for Elena, it feels absolutely normal to make that a capital letter. Now, do you know why? Jake, do you have any ideas as to why it feels normal to us?
Well, you mean the proper names?
Yeah, exactly. There we go. You just said it. It's a proper name, right?
Yeah.
And that's in the English language. I don't believe it's the same in German. I'm not sure, but I'm sorry. I don't mean to be answering your question, but
no, totally. Yeah, I know because I take Latin at school, and it's the capitalization is totally different. You know, nothing is capitalized and there's no punctuation. So I know from language to language there are little nuances that can change those type of things. When the app was developed, I believe that we decided, I guess because it's an American, not American, but it's in English. They're primarily the basis is in English. It's not translated to any other languages. So I believe that's why it was done. If it was translated into another one, which is called localization, I believe that that may be something that would be changed. But the way that the app's designed, the more localization that's required, the bigger the payload. And because Apple does not allow, they would not allow two duplicate apps, they would require it to be one single app that, depending on the language of the device, it would change. The payload, even if you just added German, it would go from 26 megabytes to probably 50 to 60 megabytes, which then you're getting around that 50 limit which Apple puts. And if you get above the 50 limit, then the user gets the message which says, this app requires an internet connection, Wi-Fi to download, and the percentage of users who actually find a internet connection and then attempt to re-download the app is quite low. So you're really trying to get it so they click the button and it works without any messages. That's really how you get the most downloads that you possibly can. You can maximize your view per download ratio. So yeah. I don't know if that answers the question. Let's see, the next question is, you know that my students had so much fun with your app in my class. Do you a great job. Well, thank you, Stefan. The next one, you're doing a very great job, Valerie, Adam, Steve, and all the staff. It's amazing to see the harmony. Okay, that's not a question.
There's a
Let's see.
question about the Android.
Okay. Is there an Android? Where's the Android one? Oh, here it is. Please you make the way this application can be downloaded via Android too. So I have experimented with Android, and I've done a lot of research on the way, because it's written in Java, and I did take AP Computer Science and 106A, so I understand Java and I understand how to do Android. But basically the reason that it is not an Android is because I've done a lot of looking at basically how many downloads really come off of Android. And Android looks like it has a big market share. And the reason, at least from my point of view, that Android, their market share is kind of faulty is because a lot of the devices are running version 2. And right now they're working on version 5. And so most devices that are included in that 70% of the world runs Android market share are the version 2010, version 2. They might have a 2-inch screen. They might run processors that couldn't even run the app. They're not even capable of downloading an app. These are phones that you might buy at a 7-Eleven that run Android, but they would not be able to run anything of any part of the app. The lowest that you can really make a useful app today that's compatible with the nice phones of like a Samsung Galaxy S5 and backward compatible is you can start at version 3 and move forward, but the market share that moves from version 3, 4, and 5, those is a very, very small percentage of Android. It may only be 20 to 30, 40% of the overall market share. So the percentages of people that would actually download the Android app would be significantly less than the iOS. And I know this because I have friends, I have colleagues that I've talked to about converting apps to and remaking them for Android, and I've also put 2 apps in the Android store. A quick case study was I made an app for my school called the Bishop School. It's in La Jolla, California. It's an amazing school. And I made one for the iOS, and I also made one for the Android. And I put them live the exact same day. And the iOS, in the first day, got 500 downloads because every student downloaded it. And then the Android one, past the first week, only got about 50 downloads. And they were marketed side by side. Every poster said, here's Android, here's iOS, here's Android, iOS. And the amount of people that came to me said, please make it work for the older devices. But the older devices, it's very hard to make it work for them because they're severely limited in their processing capabilities and the method at which they can download apps. Does that kind of answer the question?
Well, I don't think they can actually, they can't speak to us, I don't think, but I do want to tell you something. The question that was asked about the Android is from one of our presenters from yesterday. His name is Mohammed Ali Balti, and he's from Tunisia. And I don't know what the world is like because I haven't ever visited Africa or Tunisia. And I do know, though, in other countries, it may be harder to get some products than others. Isn't that true?
That is good. For different countries, I mean, the statistics that I was speaking about were primarily from America. In Tunisia, the statistics may be totally reversed. So I'm not privy to that data.
Yeah, and I don't even know whether he really is asking for data. It's an interesting way that you responded like a true professional computer programmer who knows what the purpose is of your software. But when it comes to working with deaf people all over the world and sign language users all over the world, I personally want very much to reach all kinds of markets, not because they're a market. They're not. We're donating. You see, I actually donate our materials all over the world, and I don't expect anybody who actually uses sign language who are working with deaf people in student situations. I don't expect them to pay a great deal of money for anything. I want very much to encourage them to learn how to read and write sign writing and sign language. So for that reason, it doesn't matter to me what quote-unquote the market share is, but it would matter to you because it's a lot of work is what you're really saying.
Yeah.
It's really the work.
And
involved.
I guess if I would just say one last thing kind of about this, if you think about how Apple's always going like this with their software, you know, and it's Android is the same way. They have the rapid release cycle, which is they work, you know, every single year they do it almost a completely different version. So when you get onto that, if not a lot of people are downloading the app, and it's also how many are updating, so you can see how many are using the app. And the SignWriting for iOS so far is very healthy. So the amount of when I push an update, the people immediately download the update. So you can see how many people are still using it versus how many are not. So I mean, it's an interesting.
Don't you worry about it. Jake, I have to cut you off now. I'm so sorry. I apologize, but our next presentation involves interpreters in Portuguese and Libras. Can you imagine? So we got to get set up, and I want to thank you. It was a terrific, really, truly terrific presentation. We're going to replay it and replay it, and I have a feeling that it's going to be a popular one that's going to be viewed, just like your SignWriting app is popular. So thank you very much for the gift of the SignWriting app. And in American Sign Language, to say yay, we go like this. Yay, Jake. Thank you, thank you. And I hope you can watch the rest of our presentations. I don't know, have you been watching it all?
I have tuned in on YouTube for the last couple days on a couple presentations.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much. And
well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present.
You bet. Our pleasure.